Welcome back, I'm Chaylo Laurino, and I play Captain Xavier. Here on YouTube and in video games and in LARPs and medieval recreation and lots of other places over the years. And one of the places that I get to play Captain Xavier as a character is Afterworlds, which is a post-apocalyptic LARP held in Noti, Oregon, where I get to do this all weekend. I mean all weekend. The smart gun survived the whole weekend. I put thousands of rounds through here. More footage! Lock it in! I am playing Captain Xavier. I'm playing the leader of a company of mercenaries called S.L.A.T.E, which we have no idea what that actually stands for. Apparently it's just the last name of the founder, but we assumed it was an acronym and came up with all kinds of wacky acronyms for it. Put your suggestion for what S.L.A.T.E stands for in the comments, and we'll see if you can come up with ones that are better than what we came up with. Some of ours were not to be repeated in front of children. And yeah, we got to hunt a xenomorph queen all weekend, which is a xenomorph that's avoiding copyright restriction. And that's what we were hired to do, that's what we were going to be expected to do, and so we came prepared for that. I brought the smart gun, I made matching pulse rifles for all of my crew, we had bazookas, we had just a ridiculous amount of firepower. And we just got to hunt her all weekend. More footage! Gorman! 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 Just that. Every couple of hours. She would keep coming back and we would get to fight her again because the players, very wisely, hired us to do so. The original plan was that they were going to have to, every time she showed up and they came to us for help, it would cost them even more. So first time it'd be 50, then it would be 100, then it'd be 150, then 200, then 250. And they'd have to keep getting more resources if they wanted us to keep hunting. And instead they just gave us a flat fee. We'll just give you 1,000 if you'll keep her busy all weekend.
You're leaving it with us.
Which, we did the math, is about how much it would have cost if they'd done it the other way. But it was all up front. And so we just got to spend the weekend. Every time the queen showed up again to start attacking people, we'd show up and fight her off. Because while we couldn't kill her, we had the firepower to drive her off. And the thing is, the players simply did not. They absolutely did not, because she was immune to melee. They could hit her with their swords all they wanted. It would do nothing. And if she hit them even once, they're dead. And then if she eats them, they're really dead. And she was spitting full auto rifle from her mouth like acid. It was wicked. And just really, really cool. And, yeah, so we just kept hunting her. And the cool thing was, the guy who was playing the queen, so the queen was 3 people. There was the body and the mouth with the Percy's that was doing the firing, and then there were 2 arms that were 2 other players with just huge melee weapons that were just hacking at people. And his whole goal was to kill as many players as possible, to kill and eat as many players as possible. But we kept showing up and driving him off. And he kept getting smarter and trying to lure us into traps or evade us or sneak around us or what have you.
What?
And it just never really worked. And he was getting frustrated in a good way. He was enjoying it. Just let me kill more people. I'm like, no, we will not. We have been hired not to, and we are professionals. We will save them. He still killed quite a few people, and it was hilarious.
Hey,
Boom, 10 feet!
boom, 5 feet!
Boom, 10 feet! It's on a roll.
Let it go, let it go!
But the players, the reason that they really didn't want her to be able to attack them was they were desperately trying to gather resources and MacGuffins and items and whatnot in order to save the waste from an evil marauding army. And if the queen had kept showing up and disrupting their attempts to gather stuff, they were never going to make it. And so they just gave us flat, here's 1,000 caps, keep the queen off our back, and that's what we did. So we got to do this. And we got to do this.
10 feet!
Don't get in front of me! Boom! 5 feet!
Over and over and over again, just murdering the queen, pouring rockets into her. Now there were ways that they could actually do real damage to her. There was a monster called a Rad Titan, an NPC Rad Titan that did the same level of damage that she did, but didn't have nearly as much health. So they could get into a kaiju battle, which is what the whole goal was, of them just slugging it out. But she could only take so many hits, and then the dragon would have to run away to get healed, whereas the queen had enough hit points to just carry on. But it was cumulative. So if she managed to do 5, well, that's 5. But they needed to do a lot more. There was also a tank that had a cannon that could do damage, but it required rockets. And rockets in Afterworlds are a major commodity. They're very expensive to make. They're very difficult to make. So they just gave us 1,000 caps and said, how many can we get? And we were able to get them 10, which they then proceeded to squander. I don't know if they ever hit their queen with any of them, but they fired them all. But those are the 2 ways that they could kill her without destroying her body, which is good because if they could get her body, that was worth a lot towards the whole saving themselves. Or there was a space missile defense system that could just obliterate her, but they had to get to it, find it, target it, manage to hold her in place so they could hit her. We kept driving it off, which was good, but also because we kept driving her off, they couldn't do as much damage to her to actually try to take her out. Ultimately, on Sunday, when she was the big boss fight, of course, and we managed to come up with a plan of, okay, we're going to try to draw her into this location where we can get the dragon and the tank and us and all the players, and we can pin her and we can just pummel her with everything, and hopefully it'll be enough. It wasn't, unfortunately. And so they ended up going with the missile and just blowing her up, and, well, it went along like this.
Cover!
Guardian.
9-10!
Corbin!
Corbin! 7!
I'm good. We're good.
I hurt like a bitch, but I'm alive.
Okay. I'll heal you in a second. Is anyone else dying?
I actually got gun cam and head cam footage of all of that, plus most of the footage you've seen so far has been by crewman Frey, who actually does know how to remember to put on his GoPro, unlike me. So yeah, my thanks to Frey for all the footage. And it was absolutely awesome. We got to have a lot of fun. We got some, the players were, if we didn't show up the moment the queen did, and she popped up around a bunch of players died, and then we come showing up to the battle 5 minutes late. They gave us grief, and we gave them grief, and then we went and we hunted the queen, and it was just fun. Nobody attacked us, which is good, because if they'd attacked us, we'd have quit helping them with the queen. They gave us guff, much smack from people that we had previously killed, which is fair. But nobody actually attacked us, and it was really, really fun, because we got to look awesome. That's the neat thing, is that we don't come in very often, but when we do, it really has an impact, because most people are dressed like this. What we refer to as Mogadishu chic. All the mismatched, post-apocalyptic stuff and scrap and weird things and weirdness, and then we show up looking like this. All professional and black tack and blasters and surreyessers and marching and formations and actually using plans and strategy and it working. They get to actually see a battle plan get implemented and works, because we're not a bunch of mindless murder hobos going around killing each other all day. So it was really, really fun, and we got thanked by a lot of people for making the game more fun and for making it more interesting and for being awesome, and that's what it's all about, because we're playing NPCs. We can't win. We can just make the game better for the players, and I love doing that. I love playing an NPC and seeing people have fun. I also love to see the ridiculous and absurd things that they try. One guy who at one point was killed and eaten by the queen, but just went through her. Because you get to die up to 3 times in a weekend before your character is permanently dead. And that's kind of a mechanic, apparently. So he got eaten by the queen and then was fine, apparently. So apparently you can do that. So he decided, well, why don't we strap me with a whole bunch of explosives, and I'll get her to swallow me, and then I'll set them off on him inside her and blow her up. And, you know, the rational Captain Xavier is going, that's ridiculous, you're gonna die. But the but the snarky Captain Xavier going, that's a great idea, we'll distract her.
Zach, get the fuck up.
Everybody keeps shooting.
Yeah. We're gonna lure her this way.
Yep, it's looping around.
This way.
And so he did it in the final fight. He actually did strap himself with explosives and got her to eat him. And it actually worked out better than we expected. We didn't think it was going to kill her. But what it did end up doing is it ended up blowing her jaw off. So she couldn't devour anybody anymore. They could just knock people down and, you know, put them into a dying count, but she couldn't then eat them. Which made it much more difficult for her to seriously kill people. If they were still dying, medics could get to them and heal them, whereas before, if she devoured them, there was no way to heal them. They were just dead. And so it worked, and he was, you know, hailed as the hero of Afterworlds, despite being an objectively horrible person by all accounts, or at least by some accounts. Morals in Afterworlds is weird, because everybody's a murder hobo, so who's the worst murder hobo amongst a cadre of murder hobos? But that kind of role play, that kind of let's try this ridiculous thing, and seeing the story writers were not expecting that, but they rolled with it and they added, okay, well, what would happen? Well, we'll have her blow off her jaw. That's something that can come from this, and their willingness and their ability to change the story on the fly and come up with things like that is really, really cool, because Afterworlds is very, very fast-paced. Things happen, people come up with ideas, and they just do it. And the story team, the plot team, as they're called, has to be able to roll with the punches, and they're really, really good with it. And it's really cool to see. So I'm really looking forward to the finale, because the next game will be the last game of this story arc. This story has been going for 10 years in the No-Tai Waste, and civil, you know, whole settlements have come and gone, cities have come and gone, buildings have come and gone, factions have come and gone. There's been minor rule changes, major rule changes, soft world resets, hard world or game resets, all kinds of stuff. And this is going to be a complete reset. It is going to be set in a whole different place, whole different storyline, whole different background. Everything is changing, new rules. They're bringing this to an end. It's been 10 years. They want to do something new. And so they're trying to make the finale as big and as fancy and as huge as they can, and we get to be involved in that, and that's really, really cool. I'm not sure what we're going to do in the next one. We may be playing S.L.A.T.E, we may not. The story could allow it, or it might not, and I don't know whether we'll be on one side or the other side, good guys, bad guys, what we'll be doing. Plot's still working on that. We probably won't know until sometime in August to prepare for it in September. But it's going to be awesome. And then I'm looking forward to being involved in the new game, again, as NPCs. I find playing as a player too stressful for me anymore. It just gives me anxiety. But playing an NPC and getting to help make other people's game better, that I really, really enjoy, and I'd like to think I'm good at. I suppose that's for other people to say. More firing footage!
3, 2, 3, 1.
Rocket with me.
Pull back slowly.
Boom 10!
I need to get better. I will do my absolute best to get really good footage of the finale, at least the final battle. I did have my gun cam and my head cam going for this one. I will hopefully also get a field camera set up if the battle takes place somewhere where that would really work, and hopefully I'll get some really good footage. Most of this footage was from able crewman Frey, who's much better at remembering to turn on his GoPro than I am. So my thanks to him for that. And my thanks to you guys for watching.